Anybody who tells you that your house that you live in is a liability, you should actually block that person. Okay, and we are going to do the maths. We are going to do the maths because if you talk about something that is not within your experience, it is an opinion. If you talk about something that is within your experience, it's a fact. And a lot of people would argue and not actually take the time to do the maths, right? One thing that we need to establish, okay, we all have to establish is that the number one thing that will make you rich is your income. Your income is the number one determinant of your wealth. It's what is going to make you rich, your income, right? So we are going to go along the lines of Robert Kiyosaki, who says that everything that brings money into your pocket is an asset. Everything that takes money out of your pocket is a liability. The same Robert Kiyosaki says that your house is a liability, but I'm saying that your house is a liability if you buy it on credit. Okay, in the United States, where his reality is, if you buy a house on credit, then it becomes a liability because you bought it on credit, right? So let's do the math. So if everything that comes in your pocket, let's say you have your job, okay, or your business, all right, it gives you 200 every month, okay, and you have, let's say you have a small taxi, that brings you in 100. So at the end of the month, your revenue, not your income, your revenue is 300, right? So this is everything that brings money in your pocket. So we are classifying everything in your life in function of how they relate with your income. Okay, does it take money away from you or does it bring money from you? So here we have your rent, okay, that is 100, and then we have, let's say, your girlfriend, 2,000, or it's too much. All right, so which is 100, okay, so and the total of this is 200. The list of things that take money from your pocket, I made this very simple. I made this only 2 so that we can have an understanding. Okay, things that bring money to your pocket, things that bring money. The difference between the two, okay, is 100, and this is your income. This is going to be the thing that will decide whether you become a rich person or not. Your entire life objective should be to grow this. So as you go about life, you want to increase this as much as possible and decrease this as much as possible. So anything that you do that increases this is good. Everything that you do that decreases this is good. So now let's say that you buy a house. You go, you pay the house cash, right? You bought the house, you pay cash. What does it do to this? And this is where a lot of people are confused. Because when you buy a house, you cannot write the house here and put an amount next to it. Because it doesn't bring money to your pocket like that. But it has a relationship with your income that is very magical. As soon as you buy a house, it takes care of this when you live in your own house. So your expenses no longer. So it is the purpose of that book, okay, it's a cash flow book. Even he has a game about this, a cash flow book. So the relation of everything that you do with your income is what we are paying attention to here, right? So this 200 becomes 100, and the house is not put here. It's put in something, a balance sheet, but I don't want to confuse you. It is not put here, but the fact that you have bought the house takes care of this, and then this, okay, becomes your income, instantly increases to 200. Now we are going to do this same thing and pretend as if you use that money to build a rental property, okay, instead of staying in that house. So this is how much our income increased when we decided to stay in the house. So we are going to put it over here and delete it. So and then bring back our rent to 100. Okay. Now I have bought a rental property. Okay, and then it brings in 100. Right? This instantly becomes 400. And this, because I'm still paying rent, 200. 200 instead. 200. Okay? So the difference between this is the same 200. So the same 200 that I made when I lived in my own apartment. You see why this is confusing? It's confusing because people say, okay, listen, your house doesn't come here, so long as your house doesn't come here, it's a liability, so it has to automatically go here. Why does it have to automatically go here? When you buy a house, why does it have to automatically? Okay, so now the reason why it automatically goes here is because, according to them, that you pay money for maintenance, right? So let's even just say this is a rental property. Your maintenance, okay, is 50. If your maintenance is 50, this for a rental property, it brings it to 250, and the difference in your income is 150. This is for a rental property, and you can't tell me that the maintenance is more than the rent. If the maintenance is more than the rent, nobody would ever rent out their apartment, right? This is for a rental property. Now let's do it for an apartment that I live in. So for the apartment that I live in, I don't put it here because it's not bringing money into my pocket. I put it in my balance sheet somewhere. But I delete my rent because I'm not paying rent anymore, right? So I don't have rent anymore. And now this is 150 and this is 300. Okay? And this is for a house that I live in. My maintenance, I don't have to pay rent, but now I have maintenance of 50. Now 300 minus 150, I get the same 150. So a house that you live in is not a liability. A house that you rent, you give it, there's some mathematics you can do, or some things you can tweak to make the house that you use as a rental property renter. A rental property actually gives you money from the moment you start having multiple. Okay, but for your first house, whether a rental property or a house that you sleep in, its effect on your income is pretty much the same. My name is Adnan Sani. If you like this video, I've made a video called 5 types of businesses that you should never do. I'm sure that you enjoyed. You can find it and watch it. Thank you very much.